Hi, everybody. Hello and welcome. I'm excited to welcome you guys back. Good to see you. I hope everybody's been doing okay, taking good care of yourselves. Hey, Matt, how you doing? I'm assuming you guys can hear me and see me okay. Everything looks good to go from my end, but if you guys can give me a thumbs up with regards to seeing and hearing. Hello, Michelle Nagy. I'm excited to be here with you guys. So we're gonna dive right in. If you guys are live, can anybody give me a good watcher? Thank you for the thumbs up. Fantastic. It'd be weird to do this and for you guys not to hear and see. So today, the topic is why you must throw away your technique. And we're going to dive into it. But first, we're gonna talk about why it's important to, after responsible training and technique, why it's important to kick away the technique to create truly great, impactful, change-affecting, and dangerous performances. Why it's important to kick that away. And something tells me most of you guys already know that. But we're going to go into some details and have some fun to really give you permission to drop it and let it go. So thank you very much to the team at Backstage for doing this series and for inviting all of us to come speak with you guys every week. It's awesome. And as long as it's useful, I look forward to keep doing it. So good to see you guys. And I look forward to hanging with you guys in a little bit. So many of you guys know that I've been collaborating with Backstage for years. All of the videos and articles are archived online, and you guys can watch the videos and check out those articles. For those that don't know, my name is Joseph Pearlman, and at my studio, Pearlman Acting Academy, we help actors launch their careers faster with less effort and reach Oscar potential on set. And one of the core things that we believe at the studio is that you can launch your career faster and with less effort when you're lit up with fun. We help actors do it all the time, and we look forward to welcoming you guys, if you haven't, to attend a free audit and come watch the awesome work at the studio. And we have private coaching, online Zoom classes from Hollywood to anywhere in the world. So wherever you guys are at, you can be a part of our classes. You can watch them. You can do an audit. You can take the classes, and you can coach with us. And we work with beginners, actors that are just starting, to celebrity level actors. And you guys are all invited to watch the acting and career transformations live via Zoom from anywhere in the world, from wherever you guys are at. And including my masterclass, which is a small group of our series lead and celebrity level actors getting a workout. And what are the actors working on? New, currently casting major feature film and TV auditions, scene study for booked roles. And if they don't have auditions, we show actors where to find currently casting major film and TV audition material, and they bring it in and practice how they play. It's very important when you're training to practice how you play. If you practice in a practice environment, then that's what you're going to get outside of that environment. We like to simulate the event already having happened, so you get to go in there and do it again. You've already had the experience. And you guys are welcome to attend a free audit. Just go to the website, www.josephpearlman.com, Pearlman.com, and click the contact form, and we'll set you up with a free audit. And please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Joseph Pearlman, because we have free acting and career tips that we give out every week. So here we go, diving in. So good to see familiar faces here. Thank you guys for being here. Again, hope you're feeling awesome, doing well, staying healthy and happy. And I'm going to be riffing off of the important subject of why you must throw away your acting technique, why you should kick away your technique to create truly great and dangerous performances that guarantee a win in the audition room, because that's the point, and that stand out and reach award level acting on set. So there are great acting methodologies and techniques. I came from some of them. And in some of the training, we fill in those foundational sort of building blocks of technique. But the best techniques set you free. This is really important. The best techniques ultimately set you free after taking them and while you're taking them. Don't let anybody sell you a system for success that isn't derived from you. This is really important. I've talked about it in different ways over the months. Don't let anyone sell you a system for success that isn't 100% derived from you. And here's one of my favorite poems from one of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts, on being very cautious with training. And it's a beautiful poem. And the poem is this: the centipede, 100 legs centipede, the centipede was happy quite until a toad in fun said, "Pray, which leg goes after which?" This worked his mind to such a pitch, the centipede, he lay distracted in a ditch, considering how to run. It fucked him up. The basic act of walking and running, he was now in his head about, and it was something, obviously, that the centipede knew how to do, and we as human beings know how to do. You guys know how to talk and listen and communicate when something's fun. So what that poem's about is not getting overly conscious of the basic human act of connecting to other people, talking and listening. Will Ferrell did a really funny impression some years ago on SNL of the actor giving 110% all the time. It looked like a Meisner exercise gone wrong. It was hilarious. If you guys can catch that, I think you'll like it. So we want to be careful of work that has the scent of training. We don't want to create work that reeks or smells like acting training. Okay. Meryl Streep has talked about this before on the importance of dropping the technique before you start acting. So it's important to drop it and let it go. Remember, you guys, training is just scaffolding, which helps to fortify, you're able to build the building when the building is finally, or the building is finally completed, or the art project is finally completed, the scaffolding is kicked away. So training is like scaffolding. Or if you think about it like sculpture, does anybody know what's on the inside of sculpture? What holds it up? What creates the form? It's the wiring. It's called the armature, the underwiring of the sculpture. It's the thing that's invisible, but it gives the sculpture its shape. But it's invisible ultimately when the sculpture is revealed and people look at it. Hey there, Fruchtiga from Austria. Cindy, great to see you as always. I'm going to talk with you guys in a little bit. We're going to get to hang out. And again, thanks for being here. So think of it like this. Think of Olympic training, okay? Olympic athletes, they train for years and months before the event. And when it comes to run that race or to do that event, the training is nowhere to be found. It's in their muscle memory, okay? They don't have to worry about it. It's already there. Training is not meant to be executed and done while you're actually doing the event. It's in your blood, muscle, bone memory. I also like to think about it like this. Think about if you're going somewhere where there's the possibility of malaria. One could take a medicine, I think it's called Malarone, for malaria. Some of you guys may have taken it. And here's the trick question. When you take a medicine and it goes into your bloodstream to prevent you from getting the disease malaria, what do you then have to do when you get off an airplane in a malaria-prone place? What do you have to do to prevent from getting malaria? Well, it's a trick question because you don't have to do anything anymore. The medicine is in you. Think of training like that, you guys. Think of really good training like that. This was it was in the foreword of David Mamet's book, True and False, and it's a quote from D.W. Winnicott towards an objective study of human nature, and it's a beautiful quote. And the quote is this: "The scientific approach to the phenomenon of human nature, to take a scientific approach, enables us to be ignorant without being frightened, and without, therefore, having to invent all sorts of weird theories to explain away our gaps in knowledge." I think it's such a beautiful quote. And you want to think of training, what we get to do with really great training is we get to live off the interest of the work. We're planting seeds. We're putting stuff in us that we cannot recover from, that we get to live off the interest of. So think about it like this. I'm laying some foundation here. So living off the interest of the work. Technique and training, you guys, is the stuff you need to do to make it so you don't have to do any acting, okay? It's the stuff we do to make it so we don't have to act. Overuse of training can make us and actors feel overly anybody, honestly, all artists or people or medical professionals. Overuse of training can make actors overly conscious of the basic act of talking and listening. You guys, when something's fun, when you're playing awesome, fun, exciting date, when do you ever have to concentrate? Okay? When something's fun, you don't have to concentrate or focus on communicating with another person. It's effortless. You've ever found it like that? To be effortless. It's only when something isn't fun that you have to really try to concentrate on it, do you know? And then you're like Will Ferrell playing the actor giving 110% every moment. It was hysterical. Somebody please find that and send that to me because I haven't been able to find that sketch in a while. Technique should be balled up. At best, technique should be balled up and thrown out the window before you start acting because it's already in you. It's the first moment or the moment of that can either save or sink the scene, okay? We talk about the hook. I've talked about the hook before. I call that first moment the character's hook in the scene. You guys, the hook is the specific emotional, dangerous, deeply emotional body attitude you adopt at the top of the scene. It's the emotional momentum into the scene, as my friend Steve Holmes says. After you've safely chucked your acting preparation out the window, I discussed the hook in great detail. If you guys haven't seen the video I did the title of it is called "This Acting Tool Will Change Your Life Forever." It's a recent Backstage video, and check it out. And I go deep into into what the hook is. You guys, you guys know how to talk and listen, and we're great at it when we're talking about stuff that we like, that matters to us, that lights us up, that turns us on, that gets us excited. Or as my friend Susan Gale Watt says from my masterclass, that flips your skirt. Too often we see, overly or irresponsibly trained actors make that serious listening face as if they attempt to show that they are in fact fully listening to their partners. You guys know it looks unnatural, and it often seems like that particular actor is so caught up with the act of listening that they don't respond naturally, okay? So here's an issue. The issue is overly visible acting technique. Really great actors deliver seemingly effortless performances. Their work doesn't reek of acting training, nor do they look like their heads are focused on some complex technique. I think it's really important to mention there's no knocking of technique here. There's no denigrating technique. Technique is important. It's the foundation of our work, but it needs to be such the technique needs to be absorbed in your body and completely let go of, okay? This is not an anti-technique talk. It's about being responsible in your technique. And I often find that actors that lean too much on technique can sound robotic. What do you guys think? Have you seen it in a particular performance? We don't have to mention it, but as they strive to really talk and really listening at 100%, making them overly conscious of this basic natural act. And aside from the fact that no one likes, no one likes to watch performers that sound like well-programmed cyborgs. Your technique should be invisible to the audience. And more often than not, I feel that overly trained or irresponsibly trained, and that the training is brought into the acting, it can lack that invisibility of technique. Jeff Bridges said it so beautiful. I love Jeff Bridges, and I wish him well. I hope he's doing well with his illness right now. Jeff Bridges said that with acting, you have to make like a diamond cut, a cut that's invisible. It has to be seamless, your work. It's like making a cut in a diamond. It was so beautiful how he said it. I think he said it on Larry King some years ago. And here's another issue, is that sometimes you want to dig around inside. And many techniques stress the importance of using outside external stimuli for their reactions and not to engage in these, quote, self-indulgent, predetermined emotions. And this doctrine can sometimes inhibit actors from looking inwards like at all, because it's so outwardly focused about what you're trying to get from somebody. In life, you guys, when are you constantly trying to get something from somebody or to do something to somebody? God forbid somebody does something to you, okay? There's a higher art form, there's a higher dimension to those kind of intentions and objectives. I call it action in the moment. I'll give you an example of this. An action in the moment, we think of an intention and an objective in technique as something you want from somebody or something you're trying to get, to dominate, to punish, to seduce, to amuse. But think about it like this. There are 4 ways of expressing every intention action. And I'll give you an example. You can have the intention to amuse your partner. Everything you do is in an attempt to amuse them. Or guess what? You can have the need to be amused. Does that make sense? You can have the need to be amused, or they amuse you. You are amused by them. Or you could have the need to amuse them. So you can amuse them. You can have the need to be amused. You can have the need to amuse them, or everything they do amuses you. So there are different ways to explore that. The same with to dominate someone. You can be dominated by them. You can have the need to dominate them, or you can have the need to be dominated. So there's many different levels to what a lot of classic training and technique offers. The reality is that sometimes, you guys, we do personally overlap with the character in question, not because we experienced in our own lives. It's because we can infinitely relate to things as people. And Philip Seymour Hoffman explained this in Movie Maker magazine some years ago, one of my favorite actors. And he says, I think I relate, or partly relate, to a lot of the parts, most of the parts that I play. And a lot of actors feel the same way. So early in the process, you guys, when you get a script, one of the things I recommend you doing is drawing these 2 boxes, just 2 squares, box A and box B. It's very crude. Don't make a big deal about it. You just draw box A and box B, okay? Box A, box B. In box A, you're going to write all the things that you relate or identify with without even thinking. These are all the things you just get. As a human animal, I get this. That box A list represents all the stuff you don't have to act. Box B is going to be all the stuff you cannot easily relate to or identify with in the moment. And you're going to have to figure out under what conditions would it be possible for you to relate and identify with. And I find that, irresponsibly trained actors can demonstrate a hyper reluctance to look inwards whatsoever when it comes to developing a character. And this robs them of adding the richness of their own experience, you guys. I think it was a quote from Stanislavski: the person you are, the people you are, is 1,000 times more interesting than the best actor you could ever hope to be. The person you are is 1,000 times more interesting and rich than the best acting choices, character choices you could ever make. You guys, Meisner was my background years ago. I wouldn't have the knowledge I have today if it weren't for the Meisner roots that I have. I don't teach the Meisner work right now. That being said, I don't think the technique has any place in the final product. It's important for me to fill in missing gaps in an actor's toolbox, but to ultimately bridge the gap between technique and what is it like to create work that has the thumbprint and authenticity of the personality of the actor. You have to make a break of technique at a certain point. Does that make sense? Otherwise, the work is going to reek of it. Yes, you guys, there are amazing technically trained actors who believe in the technique, from Robert Duvall to Grace Kelly. However, I believe that most of those actors, and what do you think, would be watchable and moving regardless of the technique that they studied due to their own inherent singularity and uniqueness of personality. What do you guys think? I think many great actors also attribute their success to a technique. Remember, the best techniques set you free. They set you free. And I believe the technique doesn't make the actor. This is really important. The technique doesn't make the actor. The personality makes the actor. 90% of the performance is your personality, okay? It's like the ruby slippers in The Wizard of Oz. You've always had the power with your incredible, unique, awesome personalities to deliver the most impactful, change-affecting, dangerous performances. It's about harnessing it. It's about leaving some bullshit at the door and making those brave, dangerous choices. A good technique or process should open the door for you to ultimately be the creator of your own technique. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. A good technique or process should open the door for you to ultimately be the creator of your own technique. Any technique that doesn't allow for that possibility is fundamentally flawed because it presumes to override your natural instincts and ability to innovate, okay? Any technique that doesn't allow the ability and possibility for you to be ultimately the creator of your own technique, or that isn't derived from you, is flawed because it presumes to override your natural instincts and ability to innovate. And what I love doing is to help you guys bridge the gap between classic training and technique and what is it like to create work where you leave a tip. I've talked about this before, where you leave a tip, as Bryan Cranston describes it, where you lift your leg on it and you leave your scent so somebody sees you and nobody else, stamping it with your personality, a thumbprint, as the actor Ron Perlman says, leaving a thumbprint of personality. And work that doesn't reek of acting technique. And yeah, so the goal is to create inspired work that's very much your own. And to do this, you have to be the creator of your own technique, one that derives solely from the strength of your own character and personality. You guys, this is essentially like an anti-technique or a self-made technique rather than an attempt to force your unique skill sets and talents into the rigid dimension of some famous technique or some other art that some other artists developed. This is a one-size-fits-all method, okay? The one that we want to deploy is a one-size-fits-you method, not a one-size-fits-all method, but a what's the one-size-fits-you method. And it's designed to help you respond to your individual needs so that you can create the performance and you can make the performance your own completely. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting these videos. I still have some more stuff I want to talk to you about, and then I want to hang with you guys. So hang out, and I'm gonna, when I do the Q&A part, then if you could put your questions there so I don't have to roll up too far. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting this, supporting the videos. And as long as they're useful, I will enjoy creating them, provided Backstage. It's also useful for them as well too. Being the creator of your own technique begins and ends with giving yourself permission to bring your personality to every audition and every role. And the success of this depends on accepting the fact that you are far more interesting than the cumbersome weight of character and technique. You are infinitely more interesting. And this isn't necessarily a pleasant experience, you guys. Like dealing with ourselves, our flaws, our quirks, our weaknesses, our oddities can be uncomfortable. And it can seem ideal instead to avoid oneself by diving into a character or the false security of an intricate acting technique or getting to some warm and fuzzy place that's light years away from the immediacy and danger of facing ourselves in the moment, sitting in the sauna of what's uncomfortable. How many times, I can't tell you how many times I've seen technique take actors to a place that's more comfortable and less dangerous, to a more warm and fuzzy place. And that's not useful. So the danger of not bringing your fully flawed self to the role in your work, however, the danger of not bringing your fully flawed self to the role is that your work can be stripped of its humanity. And as F. Scott Fitzgerald would say, can become a mere series of successful gestures. So the danger of not bringing your fully flawed self to the role in your work can be stripped of its humanity and can become a mere series of successful gestures. Again, as F. Scott Fitzgerald would say. So giving the performance your own flavor is essential, and it's your responsibility to deliver it without the scent of someone else's dated methodology, ultimately. And what may have theoretically worked for that acting guru back in the 1970s might not be effective for you in today's game due to the predominance of new media, motion capture, taped auditions, multi-camera, virtual reality, etc. There's been a landslide shift in the industry in terms of the styles of acting. And the demands and skills required of actors are constantly changing and in need of innovating and updating, but most importantly, adapting. We need to be infinitely adaptable to what's new. Think of acting technique or conservatory, again, as a blueprint or scaffolding that is necessary for learning how to create characters and to start the journey of living truthfully in imaginary circumstances, rather than clinging to the scaffolding for dear life during a scene, audition, or performance. The final step, you guys, it's a liberating feeling to kick it away when you're finished with it. And that process unveils the difference between acting which smells of technique and the kind that does not. Masterful acting never seems safe or planned, okay? Instead, it oozes this really cool organic quality and sense of danger. This is in part because the scaffolding is gone. And another issue that tends to be problematic with traditional conservatory training is that it never addresses the need to make the work your own, to leave your stamp or mark after you've constructed the technique scaffolding. You'll often leave your stamp or mark without even trying. It'll occur by just being yourself, okay? But the confining nature of what I would call irresponsible technique is not going to allow it to come through as fully or as powerfully as possible. That's why you have to be grateful for the training, for the foundation it provides, but also have the good sense to jump into the ether when the time is right. A good friend of mine said, when it's time to act, Jeff Bullen, a teacher at RADA, he said, you want to go into the red mist, you guys, with your eyes closed, as if with baggy pants on. Just go into the red mist. Eyes closed, mouth open, baggy pants, red mist, not giving a shit. I call it naughty bedroom acting or bedroom rock star. Yeah. And putting your stamp on the work begins asking of every line. You could say it, you guys, ask of every line, what am I saying in my own words? Put the text down. If this were me in this imaginary situation under the influence, what would I say to my partner in my own words? And then pick the text back up because you've just unlocked that particular line. You can do it with every line, or you can do it with the lines that you're having difficulty with, or the passages that you're having difficulty with. These are the types of questions that can help you be emotionally primed and ready for the fictional circumstances you're about to confront. And this type of emotional preparation is essential and should not be underestimated. The difference between good acting and great acting is the actor that's emotionally ignited at the beginning of every scene, emotionally full versus empty, and emotionally specific at the top of every scene. Ultimately, you're the one that knows what triggers that light up and what's going to work for you in your own method. There is no one-size-fits-all path to creating a role or to an acting career. Your path to your dreams will be your own. So reject the one-size-fits-all. We're looking for the one-size-fits-you. And again, don't let anybody sell you a system for success that isn't 100% derived from you or supporting your personality. You need to be the one swinging the machete and carving the path through the jungle. And it starts by honing your very own anti-technique in a way that begins and ends with you. And you guys, this is a love to shine the light on your own personalities and to let you guys know that, like, it's that thing that you already have that's going to help you get to where you, from point A to point B faster, that's going to ignite a performance that's going to guarantee a win on set, guarantee a win in an audition room, or reach award level performance on set. It's already there, and it begins and ends with your personality. Remember, we're not playing ourselves in acting. We're not playing ourselves. We're finding the character in us. We're bringing her through. You're bringing her through you, him through you, etc. And as always, this is like everything I say is just wanting you guys to stand up for yourselves. Okay, wanting you to stand up for yourselves. Trust your instincts. If it feels wrong, it's wrong. If it feels right, it's right. Trust yourselves. Thank you guys for letting me hang with you and speak with you like this. I would like to take some questions, and thank you for being patient. So I'd love to take some questions. Good to see you. Welcome back. Thank you, Mercury Wolf. I'm taking the questions now. So if you asked a question a little earlier, please put it back up in the comment section so I can take a look at it. And yeah, cool. You guys staying safe and having fun. Again, you guys, if you haven't attended a free audit, come from wherever you're at in the world. You can come watch the awesome work at the studio from anywhere in the world via Zoom, and go to the website, www.josephpearlman, PEARLMAN.com. Hit the contact form and come and watch the work for free, because you've been watching these videos and you're welcome to come. So let's see, questions. Hang with me, you guys. What's new? What's going on? How are you doing? We can do a little bit of questions about what I just talked about, or have a little bit of an accountability wrap session, which is what we do at the beginning of our classes, where I would pose to you guys, I want to hear how you are doing. Are you okay? Is it busy? Is it slow? Any questions? Anything that we can do to help you guys, that's what we're here for. I know Backstage is here for that. I'm here for that. So here we go. Thank you, Saeed. Hip hop, how important do you think Uta Hagen questions are? Listen, all questions are awesome. Any questions that are asked that you can answer emotionally are brilliant. As long as the final acting is free of those questions, you're good to go. Langdon, again, thank you. Hey, thank you for your support. Love you too. Veronica Kim, can you talk a bit about what solid training scaffolding would entail before we throw it away? Yes, you guys, this has been the subject and the content of almost all of the videos I've been doing for months on the slate. You know, what are the questions you're going to ask yourself? I would recommend going to my video on Backstage, the recent video, how to guarantee a win on your next cold read audition. Go to the what is it called? The talk I did about the hook. And the name of that video is This Acting Tool Will Change Your Life Forever. So I go through those questions. I go through the questions, responsible training kind of questions to ask in almost all of the videos. Please see those videos. You're going to be asking many questions. The last video that I did, first steps when you get an audition. You are going to love that, Veronica Kim. Please watch the last video, first steps when getting an audition. Okay. Sindora, the work we do is amazing. That is sweet. Thank you, Cindy. Cool, Ms. R, come and join us for the free audit. It's fun to hang out. We get to have conversations and talk. You get to meet actors who are in some of the biggest movies and shows out. Hey, Anthony Michael Martinez, thanks for being here. If you had one gem of advice to give the actor that cannot be ignored, what would it be? If you had one gem of advice to give the actor that cannot be ignored, what would it be? Is that when you're first jumping into this world, you need to realize that you are more interesting than any performance you could ever create. And so you want to do the performance in neutral. So act the piece as yourself, okay? To play yourself. One of my favorite actors, Harry Dean Stanton, his advice to new actors, he said, the people that we meet on the streets, the people that you are so freaking interesting. Irresponsible training can really screw with that, can make you overly conscious of the basic act and talking and listening. So try doing the piece as yourself. Doing the piece as yourself is a great test of whether the work has absorbed into you, your emotional and your body. So do it as you. Know that your personality is 90% of your success potential. And so play you. So do you, basically. That's what I would start with. That's a starting point. The end goal is we're not playing ourselves. It's us filled up. It's us activated. And how we get activated is the subject of the sort of Olympic level work that we talk about all the time. Hey, let's see. I want to make sure we didn't miss any questions. Thank you, Anthony Michael Martinez. And here, Anthony, here's another one. Don't be afraid to look like an asshole or be a freak, okay? I think there's a big fear afflicting a lot of actors is the fear of being too big. It's like this irrational fear that someone's going to not like us. Remember, you cannot create and please at the same time. There's no room to please as you're creating. So don't be afraid to look like an asshole or be a freak, you know? Really rock out with your version of it. What is your version of something? That's why people love you. Not because you do what you think they want, is they love you for your authenticity. They love you for you, hopefully. Hopefully. Let's see. I'm going to keep going. Hope you're doing. I can't understand that, Lady Renfro. I can't understand that question. Cole plays. Hope you're doing well. Have you ever thought of making a Twitch kind of acting class? Being a starving artist is not easy. Hey, man, like or woman, please come and watch one of the classes for free. I'm offering a free audit, and you know what? Here's the deal. It's like these videos are also free every other week. So stay tuned to these videos and come to an audit. Thank you, Veronica Kim. Isn't Alan Watts brilliant? Good. I'm glad it's useful. Raphael, let's see. What is the best way to contact a person you want to spend time with to prepare for a role? Oh, that's a really great question, Raphael. How would you approach a business guy, for example, on social media? Well, no, I want to make sure I understand your question. You know, the first time you perform in an audition or class or on set should never be the first time you run it with another person. And what's awesome about this community and the community of my studio is that the actors are so supportive and of each other and generous with their time, and will take 10 minutes for free. It's free to video chat or a phone call and run a piece with the actor and ask some of the questions that we go through in the work. So now, then the other part of your question is how would you approach a business guy, for example, on social media? That part of the question I don't understand. I do recommend you watch the video I did recently on Backstage, how to create celebrity level branding. Anybody who hasn't watched that, it goes into detail on the business side of things. But Raphael, thanks for the first question. Let's see. Asim. So sometimes I'm on set and the director asked me to be more mean. And I just couldn't bring it. Once on set, the director asked me to be more mean and I couldn't bring it. How do I do that? Asim, I'm going to prescribe you one of my videos, how to turn any note into a win. It's on Backstage. It's free. I think you're going to love it. Let me know what you think. It is a full-on hour answering that question. So please watch that and let me know what you think. Let's see. Jose Hernandez, thank you for being here. Any tips on standing out on co-star auditions since you're not encouraged to do too much? Dude, yes, what a great question. And the subject should you want that? Should Backstage be interested in that? What a cool subject for a video that we could do is how to stand out on co-star auditions. This is really important because it's one of the biggest mind viruses out there, that with co-star auditions, you shouldn't be doing anything. You shouldn't be standing out. It's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. You do want to, the name of the game in the audition is to stand out without screaming. As my friend Eugene Simon, who was on Game of Thrones for 6 seasons, says, it doesn't get easier, you just get braver. So it's kind of a trick question, Jamie. It's the same work we would do on booking a lead in a feature film. You're still making dangerous choices within a certain structure, okay? It's not to pull focus. You need to understand the world that you're in. So it's very important to ask yourself questions like, what's the structure that I get to go crazy inside, that I get to go nuts inside here? What's the structure? And then make choices. It is your job to make brave and dangerous choices to actually stand out in those auditions. And it's this sort of this mind virus type of thing to think that you're not supposed to in those auditions. You are always supposed to stand out within a structure. So I do recommend the video I recently did, First Steps When Getting an Audition, Jamie. It's such a good question, and I'd love to consider doing it as a standalone video, how to stand out in those co-star roles. So don't make it an obstacle to doing all the work you typically do. Let's see here. Ding, 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 ding. Kevin Murray says being mean does not mean being angry. Yeah, you know, one of the interesting things is that two-dimensional choices, like playing it angrily or mean or like a dick or whatever, might be superficially fun. But when you make those two-dimensional choices in acting, it can be very unlikable. First of all, they're two-dimensional. People have a reference point for it. You ever find yourself watching a Broadway show, and we are very much hope Broadway can get back on its feet, and theater in general, ASAP. Whether you're watching a play, a musical, film, television, and you find yourself like not rooting for the person that you're supposed to root for and like for, and it has something to do with their acting choices. They're playing choices of anger, and it can be very repellent. So that doesn't mean we're going to get flavors of angry or mean, but we're not going to play it directly angry or mean. We're going to make choices where you're going to get an emotional spectrum, and anger and meanness might be in there, but we're not going to make the choice. Don't ever make the choice to play somebody angry or mean. Let's see. Questions are coming in really fast. Let's see. Oh, this is good. Sandoval, thank you for being here. What is a good way to spot training that's not right for you as an actor versus training that is just challenging or uncomfortable? Here's the big one. Don't let yourself be abused by anybody. If you're feeling dragged down, abused, if someone's running you down, there was a great movie called The Master with Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And Philip Seymour Hoffman described this sort of torture of what he was putting Joaquin through as being like bad acting training in a way. Trust your instincts. If it feels like it supports you as a person, and it feels positive, then it's good. And if there is, there's some red flags to spot. And if it's abuse-based, which abuse is really self-loathing directed outwards, or making somebody else feel horrible because somebody can't help you to get from point A to point B, it's time to walk out. Anything aggravating, it's time to walk out. Now, it's important. I always say great actors know what great acting feels like. And you should be feeling this every single time you get up to work. If it's possible to have an acting breakthrough or transformation every time you get up to work, why is it not happening? And so you need to ask yourself, when I'm getting up to work, is that method or teacher helping me to have an acting breakthrough transformation every single time? And does my best work feel fun, effortless? Does it feel like I'm having impact? And does it feel like my version of it, my version versus an idea of character? And another thing that's important is when you're making acting choices, you need to realize that the words you're saying are very different than what you feel and what you mean. And Martin Landau said, in a well-written script, the dialogue, what people say to each other, the words, it's only what a character is willing to share, willing to reveal. The 90% she isn't willing to reveal is what we're doing for a living. So the work should focus on what's really going on underneath. But as always, trust your instinct and don't tolerate abuse. Stand up for yourself in a situation like that. That's the most important thing. Great question, Sandoval. And let's see. I'm trying to get to some questions. Sorry if I miss your questions, but I'm running through them. Sometimes I miss them. Miss R, whole technique and training thing confuses me and put me off all these years from pursuing acting in the way I really want. Do you have any advice for me? Yeah, here's the thing, you guys. If the training, if the work is not made fun for you, something's off. This work should be fun, and there's a way to make it fun and to hit the depths of darkness and hell that we do while still being fun and not, not taking something away from you. You should not be suffering. So wherever you guys end up studying, there should be no personal suffering involved. Hard work is hard work. It's like, something can be hard. You feel like, someone climbed Everest. They feel like they want to die and they can't breathe, but every pore in their body is saying, F yes, that's how you want to feel. And if you're not feeling that, rethink where you're training. Let's see. BU, other than Joaquin Phoenix, who do you believe is a dangerous actor? My God, Laura Linney, Parker Posey, Daniel Day-Lewis. Who do you think? Martha Plimpton. My God, Martha Plimpton's one of my favorite actors. Dangerous actor. Laurie Metcalf, John Malkovich. On and on and on and on. We can keep going. Tell me what you think, but those are some of my others. I know I talk about Joaquin because he really pushes the outer edge of danger. And if you haven't seen The Master, watch The Master because I think it's one of his most dangerous performances. Edie, PM. Oh, this is such a great one. Advice for shifting out of the scarcity mindset. Yes. Sometimes I prepare, I'm present, connected, feel great, whether I book or not. Other times I push because I think, when will I get my next audition? Yeah, there's this sort of scarcity mindset and lie of competition that we're sold. It's important, Edie, to get into a situation where you're doing acting work every week because you can't think yourself out of this scarcity mindset. You have to out-fun it. You have to outbreak. You have to burn through the fog of it by displacing it for your sheer love and fun of doing the acting. So, Edie, if you haven't come to watch the work, come and watch the work for free. See how we're working. Because Philip Seymour Hoffman said this. If you are acting in a room that somebody's paying rent for, you have the opportunity to be the best actor you can possibly be. Someone in my class yesterday said, John Fiore, thank you. You need to be better than good. Okay, you need to be better than good. You need to be great. And your great potential is right there. It just takes somebody to help bring it out of you. And if you have consistently in every room that somebody's paying rent for, do the greatest acting that you're capable of, something will ultimately transpire. So please keep loving the work and dedicating yourself to doing the best work in everything that you're doing. And Philip Seymour Hoffman said, something will ultimately transpire. And I promise you guys, that is the truth. Your consistent great work over and over in every room, whether it's class or audition or set, is going to definitely get you to where you want to be. So keep it fun. Yeah. The difference between Alara is, what's the difference, thank you, Alara, between great acting and okay bad acting? It's doing your version of it, and it's being emotionally ignited and full and lit up at the start of every scene. It's having the bravery to make choices that are not obvious, to not emotionalize the text. Please watch some of the other videos I did because I go into that in great depth. There's a video I did on how to create dangerous acting for free on Backstage. You guys can watch it. Alara, thank you for the great question. Let's see. Jamie Jose Hernandez, the talent agency that I'm signed to has a bigger roster than most, and I feel like I'm just another number. How can I make my relationship with my reps better so I don't feel like just another number? You shouldn't feel like just another number. It should feel like a strategy partner that you should feel that they personally like you and you personally like them. And I would recommend scheduling a virtual meeting or a phone meeting to check in. It's very important that you deliver your high-level branding, your branding to your reps on a silver platter. It was never their responsibility to figure that out. You need to be very clear that they know how to sell you when they pick up the phone. And we need to also know if they pick up a phone. So one of my friends, Sarah Jackson, who runs one of the most awesome management companies in the world, said you don't want to check in every day with your reps, but you don't want to go weeks without checking in. So I would recommend scheduling a virtual meeting or a phone meeting with them to check in, start by thanking them, and seeing if there's anything that they need that's going to help them when they pick up a phone to pitch you. And you'll get a sense of whether they pick up a phone or not. And the ability, Steve Jobs says that what separates the ability to use the phone properly separates the doers from the dreamers. So schedule that meeting is the quick answer to that question. And sorry if I missed your question, but you can write it at the bottom because I'm moving through and sometimes I miss them. Yeah. All the techniques, you guys, the Meissen technique, Sydney, Sarah, you have a Meissen background. You said, what do you think about the Stanislavski technique? That's the technique. I said, I think all these techniques are wonderful, but it's only like the scales, doing the scales of piano. All this technique is great as long as you are not personally suffering under that particular teacher of that training. And know that oftentimes the pure Meissen teaching is very different depending on who's actually teaching it, or the Stanislavski. But it's important that you realize that that training is just scaffolding. It has to be kicked away. And ultimately, you need to be the creator of what works for you after that training or technique. So it's important to know, it's important to bridge that gap so you can figure out how you can bring yourself to it, to leave your mark. Because it would be a darn shame if you left an audition or on set or on stage and thought, wow, I really did my technique well, but I didn't feel like I was in there. I didn't feel personally connected to it. So again, we're not dumping on technique. We're talking about using the techniques responsibly, knowing when to ball it up and throw it out the window. And let's see. You guys are invited to attend a free audit from anywhere in one of our Zoom classes. Go to my website, www.josephpearlman.com, Pearlman.com. The links are typically below the video. Hit the contact form, and our wonderful studio manager will set you up with a free audit. And you are welcome to, if you haven't been to one before, to come watch the awesome work. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll take maybe another question. Hey, Shrestha, thank you very much for that. Let's see, EDM, technique comparison. Martial artists train constantly, but when sparring, you can't think of your training. Well, there you go, Edie. That's what we're talking about. It needs to be already in your body so you can be present and free, or you get kicked. That's right. Because what happens is here's the other thing about some techniques where you're sort of focusing on a past event. You're trying to get to a place where you feel humiliated, and you try to put yourself into this place that you felt when you were 12 years old or 13 or 20 years old. Just the act of doing that can take you out of the moment, and you could get hit in the ring. Your partner's not going to be connecting with you anymore because you're somewhere distant. But here's the kicker. We may be similar, but the meaning of the past is different. The meaning of the past changes. So sometimes to try to access an emotion you were feeling years ago, you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and you might get there, but it's going to be effortful and it's not going to be fun. The meaning of the past. If I grew up in Boston and I remember what it was like riding bikes with friends, around Fenway Park, and and I can be nostalgic about it, and I can go back to Boston, to that area where I grew up near, and maybe reminisce about it. But things mean different things. The meaning of the past has changed. So your most powerful, the PowerPoint is the present moment. And that's what you're going to see when you come watch the work. And that's what we talk about a lot in the videos, is Your power is in the present moment. Philip Seymour Hoffman also talked about that. He's not interested in rooting through the trash cans of the past. He's interested in what's going on now in the present moment with all of that history still in our muscle memory. So, yeah, this is beautiful. You guys, thank you so much for being so engaged with these videos. If I didn't answer your question, I'm sorry. Please come to one of the free audits if you haven't. I will answer your question there, I promise, because we get to hang out a little bit after class, after you watch the work. And yeah, be nice to yourselves. If it isn't fun, something's off. If it doesn't feel effortless, something might be off. And if you're not having impact on your partner, something might be off. And lastly, your best work should feel like your version of it. And if something is off, you don't need someone to steal your watch and sell it back to you. You can ask yourself this beautiful question. What would make it more fun for me? And trust your answer, because your answer is really going to be the right one. What would make this more fun for me? Trust yourselves, you guys. I can't wait until the next one. Hope to see you guys in an audit, and much love to you all who are here, those of you who are watching the videos after the live, and to the whole Backstage community. Thank you guys again for creating a platform for us to do stuff that is hopefully useful and helpful to you guys. Oh man, Jose, thanks. I'm glad to see you're here. You're so welcome, Martin. Awesome. So good to see you guys. That's okay that you missed class yesterday, Sheila. You'll be back. We missed you. And love you guys. Be well. Promise I'll answer your questions. Come to a free audit. Thank you guys. Bye.